October 2nd, 2002. A Wednesday evening in Montgomery County, Maryland. James Martin is filling up his tank at a mobile station on Georgia Avenue. It's just past 6 in the evening, rush hour winding down, people heading home for dinner. Martin's a program analyst, 55 years old, going through the motions of a routine weekday. He slides his credit card, lifts the nozzle, starts pumping gas. Then he drops. No warning, no argument, no confrontation. Just a single crack echoing across the parking lot. One moment he's standing there like thousands of other people at thousands of other gas stations across America. The next, he's lying motionless on the asphalt, blood pooling beneath him. The shot came from somewhere in the distance, maybe 200 yards away. No one saw the shooter. No one heard footsteps. Just that one sharp sound cutting through the evening air. The paramedics arrive within minutes, but it's already too late. James Martin is dead, killed by a single bullet to the chest. The police cordon off the scene, interview witnesses, search for evidence. But there's almost nothing to go on. No shell casings nearby, no obvious vantage point, no clear motive. Just a random man doing a routine task, suddenly gone. What nobody knows yet is that this isn't random at all. This is the beginning of something much darker, much more calculated. Over the next 23 days, the suburbs of Washington, D.C. will become a hunting ground. Normal people doing normal things will find themselves in the crosshairs of two killers operating from the shadows. Gas stations, parking lots, school zones, shopping centers, places where Americans go every single day without a second thought, will transform into potential crime scenes. This is the story of the DC Beltway snipers and how they held an entire region hostage with nothing more than a modified car and a high-powered rifle. Less than an hour after James Martin's murder, the phone rings at another gas station just 6 miles away. But this time, nobody's been shot. James Buchanan is pumping gas at a Shell station in Rockville when he hears something whistle past his head. He doesn't think much of it until he sees the hole in the window of the station behind him. Clean, round, perfectly centered. Someone just took a shot at him and missed by inches. The next morning, October 3rd, the real terror begins. 4 more shootings in a span of just over 2 hours, scattered across Montgomery County. First, a landscaper mowing grass at a Chevron station in Aspen Hill. Then a taxi driver filling up in Rockville. A woman sitting on a bench outside a post office. A man vacuuming his car at another gas station. All of them cut down by a single, precise shot from an invisible gunman. By noon, 5 people are dead, and the pattern is already becoming clear. These aren't robberies gone wrong, or domestic disputes or gang violence. These are executions, carried out with military precision against completely random targets. The only thing connecting the victims is that they were all going about their daily routines in public spaces around the nation's capital. The calls start flooding into police departments across the region. Reports of suspicious vehicles, strange sounds, people acting oddly. Everyone's looking over their shoulders now, wondering if they might be next. Gas stations that were packed the day before are suddenly empty. People who do venture out move differently, quickly, heads down, constantly scanning their surroundings. The media picks up the story within hours. Local news crews race from scene to scene, trying to make sense of what's happening. Cable networks break into regular programming. By evening, the entire country knows that someone is picking off innocent people in the suburbs of Washington, D.C., and nobody has any idea why. Law enforcement agencies scramble to respond. Montgomery County Police take the lead initially, but they're quickly overwhelmed. The FBI joins the investigation, followed by the ATF, state police from Maryland and Virginia, and local departments from across the region. They set up a joint task force, but coordination is messy in those early hours. Everyone's operating on limited information, chasing leads that go nowhere. The geographic spread of the attacks is particularly troubling. These aren't concentrated in one neighborhood or even one jurisdiction. The shootings hop across county lines, state borders, scattered throughout a metropolitan area home to millions of people. If there's a pattern to the locations, nobody can see it yet. October 4th brings another shooting, this time in Spotsylvania County, Virginia. A woman is struck down in a parking lot while loading packages into her car outside a craft store. She survives, but barely. The bullet tears through her back, and she spends hours in surgery fighting for her life. For the first time, investigators have a living victim, someone who might be able to provide crucial details about the attack, but she doesn't see anything useful. Like all the others, the shot came from a distance, from somewhere she never looked. The shooter remained invisible, a ghost moving through the suburban landscape. The task force grows larger and more sophisticated by the day. They bring in profilers from Quantico, ballistics experts, geographic analysts. Computer models start mapping the locations, looking for patterns that human eyes might miss. Helicopters patrol overhead. Unmarked cars cruise through shopping centers and gas stations. Every available officer is reassigned to the case. Early theories focus on what seems most likely. A lone gunman, probably white, probably middle-aged, operating from a van or truck. Maybe a disgruntled employee or someone with military training gone wrong. The profile fits what investigators know about most serial killers, and it makes sense given the precision of the shots. Someone who knows weapons, who can hit targets from hundreds of yards away. They're looking for a sniper's nest, some kind of elevated position or concealed location where the shooter can set up and fire without being detected. Witnesses report seeing white vans and box trucks near several of the crime scenes, so those become the focus of the search. Police stop thousands of white commercial vehicles across the region, checking registrations, searching for weapons, questioning drivers, but the vehicles keep coming up clean, and the shootings continue. October 7th. A 13-year-old boy is walking into Benjamin Tasker Middle School in Bowie, Maryland. It's just after 8 in the morning, the start of another school day. Iran Brown is carrying his backpack, thinking about classes and homework, and all the normal concerns of a 7th grader. Then he stumbles and falls, blood spreading across his shirt. The shooting of a child changes everything. This isn't just about random adults going about their business anymore. Now kids aren't safe either. School systems across the region immediately go into lockdown mode. Outdoor activities are cancelled. Recess moves inside. Sports practices are suspended. Parents keep their children home rather than risk sending them out into what feels like a war zone. The psychological impact spreads far beyond the immediate area. Parents in California and Texas and Florida start worrying about their own children's safety. If it can happen in the suburbs of Washington, it can happen anywhere. The randomness of the attacks is what makes them so terrifying. There's no way to predict where the sniper will strike next. No way to avoid becoming a target except by staying inside completely. The boy survives, but the message is clear. Nobody is off limits. The shooter doesn't care about age, gender, race, or anything else that might normally matter in a targeted killing. Everyone is equally vulnerable. October 9th brings another death. Dean Myers, a 53-year-old civil engineer, is shot while pumping gas at a Sunoco station in Manassas, Virginia. By now, gas stations have become places of particular dread. People develop elaborate strategies for filling their tanks. They duck behind their cars, move in zigzag patterns, keep their heads down. Some stations post warnings, others hire security guards. Many simply see their business disappear as customers decide it's not worth the risk. Worth the risk. The task force receives hundreds of tips every day, but most lead nowhere. People report suspicious behavior that turns out to be completely innocent. White vans are spotted everywhere, because once you start looking for them, you realize they're everywhere. Delivery trucks, contractors, utility workers, moving companies. The Washington metropolitan area runs on white commercial vehicles, and suddenly, every single one of them looks potentially dangerous. Meanwhile, The real killers are hiding in plain sight. They're not using a van at all. They're driving a dark blue 1990 Chevrolet Caprice, an ordinary-looking sedan that blends seamlessly into traffic. But this car has been modified in ways that would make it the perfect mobile sniper platform. The back seat has been completely removed, creating space for the shooter to lie down. Near the license plate, a small hole has been cut into the trunk, just large enough for a rifle barrel to poke through. The system is brutally efficient. The car pulls into a parking lot or alongside a road, looking like any other vehicle taking a break or waiting for someone. The driver stays behind the wheel, engine running, ready to leave at a moment's notice. In the back, the shooter lies flat, rifle aimed through the tiny hole in the trunk. From the outside, there's no indication that anyone's even in the car, let alone preparing to kill. After each shot, they simply drive away. No running, no dramatic escape. Just two men in a sedan pulling back into traffic and disappearing among thousands of other cars. It's so simple and so unexpected that witnesses don't even think to look for them. Everyone's scanning rooftops and windows and parking structures, searching for a traditional sniper's position. Nobody's paying attention to the nondescript car parked 100 yards away. October 11th. Kenneth Bridges, a 53-year-old businessman from Philadelphia, stops for gas at an Exxon station near Fredericksburg, Virginia. He's driving home from a golf trip, probably thinking about getting back to his family, maybe planning his next day at work. The shot drops him instantly. Another innocent person, another routine moment turned deadly, another family destroyed by violence that seems to have no purpose. The FBI's behavioral analysis unit works around the clock, trying to build a psychological profile of the shooter. They assume they're dealing with a single individual, someone who gets satisfaction from the fear he's creating. The randomness suggests someone who wants attention, who enjoys watching the chaos unfold on television news. The precision indicates military or law enforcement training, or at least extensive practice with firearms. But they're wrong about almost everything. There aren't one killer, there are two. And their motives go far beyond simple terrorism or attention-seeking. John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo have a much more complex and disturbing relationship than anyone realizes. Muhammad is 41 years old, a Gulf War veteran with a history of domestic violence and financial problems. Malvo is just 17, a Jamaican immigrant who has fallen completely under Muhammad's influence. The older man has convinced the teenager that they're soldiers in a righteous war, freedom fighters striking back against a corrupt system. He's filled Malvo's head with a twisted philosophy that justifies killing innocent people as part of some larger struggle. The boy worships Muhammad, sees him as a father figure and spiritual guide. He'll do anything the man asks, including pulling the trigger on strangers who have never done them any harm. Their plan extends far beyond the Washington area. Muhammad envisions a nationwide campaign of terror, moving from city to city, creating panic wherever they go. He's already tested his methods in other states. Several unsolved shootings in Alabama, Louisiana, and Washington state will eventually be linked to this same pair. Earlier rehearsals for the main event. October 14th. Linda Franklin, an FBI intelligence analyst, is loading shopping bags into her car outside a Home Depot in Falls Church, Virginia. She's with her husband, just finishing a normal Saturday evening errand. The bullet kills her instantly, and for the first time, the snipers have targeted a federal agent. Whether they knew her profession or it was simply another random selection, the symbolism sends shockwaves through law enforcement. The investigation grows more desperate and more sophisticated. The task force now includes hundreds of agents and officers from dozens of agencies. They set up command centers, install new communication systems, coordinate surveillance across multiple states. The media coverage becomes overwhelming, with reporters camping out at every crime scene and following every lead. But the killers stay one step ahead. They watch the news coverage obsessively, adjusting their tactics based on what they see. When police focus on white vans, Muhammad and Malvo smile and keep driving their blue sedan. When investigators talk about elevated shooting positions, they keep firing from ground level. The media attention feeds their egos and helps them avoid capture at the same time. October 19th brings a new development that changes the entire dynamic of the case. At the scene of the latest shooting, investigators find something that wasn't there before. A tarot card, the death card, with a message written in blue ink across the face. Dear policeman, I am God. The note continues on the back, making demands and threats, establishing a direct line of communication between the killers and law enforcement. This is what the task force has been waiting for. Physical evidence that might contain DNA or fingerprints. A glimpse into the mind of the shooter. Proof that this isn't just random violence but part of some larger plan. The handwriting analysis begins immediately, and behavioral experts pore over every word, looking for clues about who they're dealing with. More messages follow over the next few days. Phone calls to the task force tip line, rambling communications that mix threats with strange philosophical observations. The caller demands money, talks about children not being safe, claims to be in control of the situation. The voice is young, maybe even teenage, which doesn't match the profile investigators have been working with. Each communication provides more evidence for the FBI's technical teams to analyze. Voice pattern recognition, linguistic analysis, background noise that might indicate location. The net is tightening, but not fast enough. Every day the killers remain free is another day of terror for millions of people trying to live normal lives in an abnormal situation. The breakthrough finally comes from an unexpected direction. A priest in Virginia receives a phone call from someone claiming to be the sniper. The caller mentions a shooting in Montgomery, Alabama, several weeks earlier. At the time, that incident wasn't connected to the Washington area attacks, but now investigators take a closer look. The Alabama shooting yields crucial evidence, fingerprints left at the scene, ballistics that match the Washington murders, witness descriptions that don't match the white male profile everyone's been chasing. For the first time, investigators realize they might be looking for a black male, possibly traveling with a younger companion. The evidence leads investigators to John Allen Muhammad and Lee Boyd Malvo. Muhammad's ex-wife had called police weeks earlier, worried about threats he'd made and his increasingly erratic behavior. His blue Caprice was registered in New Jersey, and suddenly everything clicks into place. The car that had been hiding in plain sight all along, parked at crime scenes while investigators searched for white vans and elevated positions. October 24th, 3 in the morning. The Caprice is spotted at a rest stop on Interstate 70 in Maryland. Police surround the area quietly, setting up a perimeter while the two men sleep inside the car. When they move in, they find everything. The Bushmaster rifle, the modified trunk with its carefully cut firing port, ammunition, sleeping bags, and a laptop computer. The mobile killing machine that terrorized an entire region for 23 days. The trials reveal the twisted relationship between the two killers. Muhammad, the manipulative older man who convinced a vulnerable teenager that murder was justified. Malvo, the boy who worshipped his father figure and pulled the trigger because he was told to. Muhammad receives the death penalty and is executed in 2009. Malvo gets life in prison without parole, his age at the time of the crime saving him from execution. The victims' families fill the courtrooms during both trials. Parents who lost children, children who lost parents, communities still healing from weeks of paralyzing fear. Their impact statements remind everyone that behind the headlines and the manhunt were real people whose lives were cut short for no reason beyond being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Today, if you drive through the Washington suburbs, life looks normal again. People pump gas without ducking behind their cars. Kids walk to school without armed escorts. Shopping centers bustle with activity. But the memory lingers. Security cameras are more common now. Emergency response protocols have been updated. The idea that two people with a rifle and a modified sedan could shut down an entire metropolitan area changed how we think about public safety. The Beltway snipers proved that terror doesn't require elaborate plots or international conspiracies. Sometimes all it takes is the willingness to kill strangers and the patience to stay invisible. For 23 days in October 2002, that was enough to hold millions of people hostage to fear, until good police work and a little luck finally brought the nightmare to an end.